Hey, 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 welcome back to Strange Mind 6. I'm your host, Ruby, and we're going to get right into it with the book of the bizarre, freaky facts and strange stories. And if you can, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. But let's get right into it. Grab a snack, grab a drink, or sit back and relax. Bathing beauties. Cleopatra is said to have bathed in donkey milk, and Mary, Queen of Scots, bathed in wine. Novelist George Sand preferred cow's milk 3 quarts and honey 3 pounds. The Queen of France, Isabeau, hopefully I say that right, in the late 12th century was renowned for her beauty. To keep her looks, she used a beauty regimen that included bathing in ass's milk and rubbing crocodile glands and the brains of boars onto her skin. Thank goodness for the makeup that we have nowadays, ladies and gents. Next story. Pain for beauty. For thousands of years, women poisoned themselves with their face makeup by using ceruse, a powder that caused lead poisoning. Rouge, too, was not safe. It contained mercury, which leads to miscarriages and birth defects. Short little facts. Chicago's Lincoln Park, created in 1864, was originally a burial ground. The 120-acre cemetery had most of its graves removed and was expanded to more than 1,000 acres for recreational use. The first city in the U.S. to fluoridate its water was Grand Rapids, Michigan, in 1945. The first state to use the gas chamber was Nevada in 1924. The Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776, but only by Charles Thomson and John Hancock. The majority of the people signed it on August 2nd, and the final signature wasn't even signed until 5 years later. Edison's paranormal experiments. Thomas Edison was a scientist and legendary inventor, but he also had great interest in the paranormal. In 1948, the Philosophical Library published a book called The Diary and Sundry Observations of Thomas Alva Edison, which is a collection of Edison's personal essays, letters, and journal entries. Much of the content talks about his attempt to communicate with the beyond and his numerous experiments contacting the dead and the afterlife. The nun came back. A young Bernadette Subiros, I apologize if I said that wrong, saw the Virgin Mary at a cave near Lourdes, Florida, at the tender age of 14. When she told people of what she saw, she was accused of lying, but within 2 weeks, water began to trickle from the same cave, and it became renowned as a place of healing. Bernadette was declared a visionary and a saint. Ironically, though, Bernadette herself never benefited from the healing waters. Suffering a variety of ailments, including asthma and tuberculosis, the Sisters of Nevers, the local convent, cared for Bernadette until her death at the age of 35 in the year of 1879. A few decades after someone believed to be a saint has died, it is customary to dig up his or her body to see if it remained intact. Bernadette's body did, in fact, remain quite preserved. Her recovered body was washed and then re-entered. Several years later, in 1919, she was again dug up and again found in a preserved state. She was reburied, only to be dug up once more in 1925, 46 years after her death. Her body was remarkably well preserved, so much so that she was put on display at the Church of St. Gillard's in Nevers, where she sits to this day. 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. Can you name them? I'm going to give you guys, let's say 10 seconds, and if you guys need any more time, just comment down below your answers and let's see if you got them right, and please don't change them. I actually want to see what you guys put. Ready? I'll count it out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you guys need any more time, just pause the video and yeah, comment down below. Now, the first of the 7 wonders is the pyramids at Giza. The second is the statue of Zeus at Olympia. The third is Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The next, Colossus of Rhodes. Then, Lighthouse at Alexandria. And Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. And the last one is the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus. If you got those right, or any one of those right, great job, because I only knew probably maybe like 2 or 3. The next one is Abe Lincoln. After the funeral. On May 4th, 1865, Abraham Lincoln's body was laid to rest in a temporary vault in Oak Ridge Cemetery in Springfield, Illinois. While a permanent mausoleum was under construction, the body was moved 3 more times, then placed in its permanent resting place within a newly constructed granite tomb on October 15, 1874. But in 1876, a ring of counterfeiters made 2 attempts to snatch Lincoln's body and hold it for ransom until an accomplice was freed from prison. The second attempt was nearly successful. It was foiled just as the conspirators were prying open the sarcophagus. Between 1876 and 1901, Lincoln's body was moved 14 more times, sometimes for security reasons, other times to repair the granite tomb and its dilapidated crypt. In 1901, Abe was laid to rest a final time. As his son, Robert, supervised, Lincoln's coffin was encased in steel bars and buried under tons of cement. The body hasn't been moved since, as far as anyone can tell. Wow. Can you imagine, having to do all of that because people want to go ahead and dig up the grave and take the body of Abe Lincoln? Or just anybody in general. But, back in the day, sometimes that, unfortunately to say, it was common for some people to actually grave rob. And we're gonna go ahead and continue. I skipped maybe like 2 or 3 stories. And we're gonna go to the real Jesse James. The Wild West bank and train robber Jesse James was shot by one of his gang members in 1882. In the years after his death, several men came forward claiming to be the real Jesse James, arguing that the person in James's grave was someone else. Finally, in 1995, the remains in James' grave were exhumed, and their DNA was compared with that of James's living descendants. The body turned out to indeed be the real Jesse James. Zachary Taylor. On July 4th, 1850, Zachary Taylor, the 12th President of the United States, ate a fresh bowl of cherries and iced milk. Hours later, he complained of stomach pains and diarrhea. On July 9th, he died. Historians have always assumed that Taylor died of natural causes, but rumors that he was poisoned with arsenic never quite disappeared. Taylor opposed the extension of slavery into newly admitted states, and conspiracy theorists have speculated that he was murdered by pro-slave forces. In 1995, Taylor's heirs finally consented to an exhumation to settle the controversy once and for all. The tests were negative, proving that Taylor was not poisoned. They'll sell anything on eBay. In November 2006, a Michigan woman tried to sell mummified human remains on eBay. The remains, likely from a child, were once part of a Scottish anatomist collection that came from the United States in 1820. The attempted sale was stopped, but the woman was ultimately not charged with any crime. Wow. That's crazy. The Mary Celeste. The disappearance of the ship Mary Celeste is one of most famous unexplained disappearances ever recorded. The vessel set off from New York on November 5th, 1872, carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of commercial alcohol. The captain, Benjamin Spooner Briggs, was a well-known seaman who allowed no drinking on his ship and regularly read the Bible to his men. The crew had been carefully chosen for their character and seamanship, especially because the captain had brought along his wife and 2-year-old daughter. 1 month later, on December 5th, Captain Morehouse of the De Grata another cargo ship, noticed a vessel on the horizon. It looked like it was in trouble, so he changed course to see if he could help. After calling out to the ship and getting no reply, Morehouse sent 2 of his men on board. It was immediately clear that the ship had been deserted. The ship was the Mary Celeste. The men looked for underwater damage, but the vessel was not leaking and was not in danger of sinking. On the whole, the Mary Celeste was in very good condition and should have had no problem continuing its journey. There was evidence it had been hit by a storm, but no harm was done. The men also found that there were 6 months' worth of provisions and plenty of fresh water aboard the ship. All the crew's personal possessions, even their tobacco, were also still intact, indicating that the crew had left the ship in a panic, afraid for their lives. Absolutely nothing was missing except some of the ship's papers and the ship's lifeboat. Captain Briggs, his family, and the crew had obviously abandoned the ship in a hurry, but why? What could have frightened them so much that they'd desert a seaworthy vessel for an overcrowded lifeboat and take the chances on the Atlantic? Puzzled by the disappearance of the crew, Captain Morehouse put 3 men aboard the Mary Celeste and proceeded with both ships to the Gibraltar. Officials in Gibraltar investigated and discovered that the Mary Celeste's hull was perfectly sound, indicating that she had not been in a collision. There was also no evidence of a fire or explosion. The cargo of commercial alcohol seemed to be intact and complete. The only mysterious item aboard was a sword found under the captain's bed. It seemed to have been smeared with blood, then wiped. Blood was also found on the ship's railings and both bows of the ship had strange cuts in them that could not be explained. Solely Flood, Attorney General for Gibraltar, found the bloodstains suspicious and was convinced that there had been violence aboard Mary Celeste. Morehouse and his crew were cleared of any suspicion, and after the ship's owners had paid Morehouse a reward, the ship was given a new crew and went on to Italy, where its cargo was delivered. It continued to sail for 12 years, but was also known as a hoodoo ship. So most seamen refused to set foot on her. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened aboard the Mary Celeste, but people all over the world have theories. Some believe a mutiny had occurred. The crew murdered the captain and his family, then took the ship. But why would they abandon their prize? There is the possibility that pirates attacked the ship and killed everyone on it, but that theory makes no sense because nothing was stolen. Perhaps an outbreak of disease panicked those left alive. But why? Why would they subject themselves to the close quarters of a smaller boat, where crowding would ensure that everyone caught the disease? The most outrageous explanation is that the ship had been attacked by a giant squid several times until everyone was killed. But a squid wouldn't have been interested in the ship's papers, and it wouldn't need the ship's lifeboat. Experts say only one feasible explanation has been proposed. This theory postulates that four things happened in session. First, the captain died of natural causes while the ship was caught in bad weather, when a crew member misread the depths of the water in the hold, and everyone panicked. Thinking the ship was going down, they abandoned the ship in such a hurry that they took no food or water, and everyone in the lifeboat either starved or drowned. Is this what happened? Maybe, but we'll never know for sure. And we're going to stop it there, my dear friends. Tune in next time for the continuation in chapter 3. And if you can, please hit that like button and subscribe. And I'm also going to try to upload either every 2 to 3 days a week. Things are just getting a little bit, I'm getting a bit busy, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going, and I hope that you guys just stick with me. I would really appreciate it. This is Ruby signing off. Bye.